Hey everybody, welcome back to Bossing the Bibles, and today I'm at Bandos. Earlier I did a couple hours of Zammy with no luck whatsoever. I actually just made like, I don't know, a couple 100k there, so it wasn't really a big deal. But right now I figured I'd try out Bandos because there's a little thing in the patch notes today that it wasn't in the patch notes. It was at the bottom of the Demon Flash Mob update post. I noticed that they said that they sent the general to the gym to do a little bit of toughening up. So I took that as they were giving him a buff, and so I figured that I would try him out. So earlier I was duoing here actually, and duoing is probably the best way to go, but I had to go, so I kind of left, and so my partner left too. And then I got back. I just kind of logged in the corner because I wanted to get some more kills because I still had a full yak of food and plenty of overloads. But as you can see, it does actually hit a fair amount of damage on you now. It's not like it was before where you can just kind of sit here forever, solo kills, just kind of tear through everything. So it does take a little bit more, and I think you need to be a little bit higher level than you used to, and I just noticed there's a grave in this world. Whose is that? That's terrible. Hopefully they get back in time. And no, I'm not looting that grave. It's blessed. But, yeah, so anyway, Bandos is actually taking a bit of food now to do comparatively to before, where you can just kind of sit here forever and don't have to pay attention. So anyway, I'm using probably 2 rocktails per kill. I've been trying using like protect from melee or deflect melee, and use that for like the first part of the kill until I get up to, like, say assault or something like that, and then I'll switch over to soul split and use assault. And with that I can kind of heal myself a good bit, and then use one more hit, and then use hurricane so I deal a little bit of damage to the minions, and that actually works pretty well. And then I usually don't end up switching back to protect from melee, but you do have to be kind of careful, like right now, and not die. Yeah, so they did actually give it a decent buff. My overload wore off. That might have been why I got hit so hard there. Defense got lowered. But other than that, I don't really have anything I want to say right now because I have a clip of Corp over the weekend, and okay, so that works wonderfully for a nice little outro to this Bando trip. However, I've already gotten the Bandos chest plate in this series, so I kind of want another one, and thank you, Lee. Thank you for that, Lee. But yeah, I kind of wanted a different piece. I mean, honestly, I'd take Tacit's. Like, when I was at Zammy earlier, I was in a Skype call with my friend, and I was just like, he was saying something about, I don't know, I said that I would be fine with getting any drop right now, even gloves, and he was like, yeah, that nice 300k. But then I was like, well, you know, I need them for my series, and I still can't get them. So I come to Bandos now, and I get an item that I've already gotten for my series. But, you know, that's how it goes. That's nice. I think it's 11.5 mil or something like that. So that's pretty cool. Thank you all. Okay. Yeah, so that's going to be it for the Bandos trip. I'm going to switch over to the Corp trip and actually do some more talking there where I can pay attention. Okay, so trip's over. I stayed a little bit longer than I had originally wanted to, but yeah, I got some pretty decent loot here, plus the BCP, which makes it a very nice trip. So I'm just going to total it all up quickly, and then I'm going to sell it all and throw that into the Bossing the Buyables bank account type of thing that I've got going. So if we get this all, it's already up to 13 mil. That's pretty nice. Blue charms don't price check for anything. I don't even know why I picked up those limp work roots, but alright, there we go. 13.5 mil that trip. That's almost doubling what I have so far for the Bossing the Buyables cash fund. So it's pretty awesome. I'm going to sell this all, and then I'll be right back and throw that in the bank and show you how much I'm at right now. Alright, hey everybody, so now it's just the background footage of a corp trip that I did over the weekend, and, so yeah, if you see right there, it said momentum has expired, and that was actually because me and my friends found out that momentum is actually fairly decent at corp, so after a couple of hours, we just kind of started AFKing corp, and, so yeah, that was why the momentum expired there. I actually used abilities for most of the video, but, yeah, it was a pretty decent time. I mean, Corp's now, like, before EOC, you didn't really make any money at Corp because you just tore through food. So, and then also, if you were using Gano, it kind of, like, the repair cost of that kind of just outweighed the money that you actually made unless you got a good drop. But, I'll flash up on the screen right now. Over probably, I don't know, 6, maybe even more than that. It was probably more than that. I wasn't really paying attention how long I corped over the weekend, but we did manage to get one drop, and that was a spectral, which is kind of the worst one. We did get like 3 elixirs, and the day we got the spectral, we got 4 or 5 spirit shields, so it was all kind of like trolly for most of the entire time. I'm gonna try and go back there and get like an Elysian or a Divine. I just really like to get one of those. I believe that I'm going to be opening up my friends chat for Corp, actually, with one of my friends. I'll be doing that probably sometime over the week, so you might see some more Corping in my Bossing the Buyables videos. But, as you saw, I introed the video with a Bandos trip, plus I did Zammy before. I just didn't record there, because after like 3 hours of not getting anything, I was like, I'm not even going to bother recording here, because I'm probably not going to get anything. And so a little later than that 3-hour mark, I ended up tellying out, and still got no loot. I made like 400k the entire trip there, and it was pretty bad. But, so yeah, other than that, I mean, Corp was decent to us. I did make some good money there for, like, the cash pile, but it wasn't exceptional. Like, I could have made more if I went somewhere else, but I did have a fun time at the Corp, so, you know, it all kind of weighs out. But, now I kind of had, like, a couple things that I wanted to talk about, and that was kind of just with the whole fact that Jagex has been really letting us down lately. And, I mean, I'm not normally one to say anything about Jagex negatively. I'm usually very positive about them and what they do. I understand how much effort and work and frustration actually goes into making a game, and so I give them a lot of respect, and I try and cut them a lot of slack, but there's just some times when things are just kind of not okay, and that was with the fact that the news post that they put out, ModMMG was talking about 2013, what's coming, and what's going, and in that he said, like specifically, he said that they didn't want the newsfeed to be dominated by Solomon's Store and Squeal of Fortune. And if you go to the newsfeed right now, if you click on it right now and look at it, the Demon Flash Mobs is the only actual content that came out, and even that isn't solid content. And you know, I will admit that you can't get perfect and really good optimal content out every week, and that's understandable. But it would be, the Demon Flash Mobs aren't really the problem. The main problem is that if you look underneath, if you exclude the Demon Flash Mobs, all it is Solomon's Store, Squeal of Fortune, Solomon's Store, and then more Squeal of Fortune. And they specifically said that they weren't going to be doing that this year. And you know what, it's almost the end of January, and they just did it again. And it's not okay, and it makes me angry, and I feel like they're trying, I understand they're trying to get up their public relations and try and make it so that they're not so secretive about everything, and they're just trying to build their image a little bit, and that's good. They really need to do that. But a problem with that is, if you say you're gonna do it, you need to follow through, and you need to actually do it. Because they said a little bit earlier that they're not gonna do something, and then they did it. And that doesn't make any sense. It would have been better off if they did it and they hadn't said that they weren't going to do it, because then we wouldn't be expecting that it wasn't going to happen. So when they actually did it again, like they've been doing for an entire year, it would have been a normal thing, instead of letting us down after it's been so long of just this constant crap coming out every single week for an entire year. We barely had any good content in 2012. You cannot argue that. There's barely anything good that came out. And that was just because they were focused so much on the EOC, and I get that, but it's not okay that after saying they're not going to do something, the first thing that they really did was they went back and they did it. And I just don't get it. And then if you go into the Solomon store and say maybe you bought that dwarven armor suit or the assassin robes or whatever when they came out. You know, I somewhat support the Solomon store, because you can't buy XP from it. All you do is you buy cosmetic items, and it doesn't change the game at all. I mean, the pets that they did with that was kind of borderline, because they can pick up items, but the clothing overrides that they have, I think that's a great idea, because the people that are willing to pay for them, they're going to pay for them, and it'll get Jagex a little bit of extra money. So I think that's a great idea. But the fact that if you paid all that money for that dwarven armor suit when it came out, or the assassin robes, or something like that, something along those lines, I think even the Zamorak armor, the Krill armor that came out, his battle gear and stuff like that. Today, with the Demon Flash mobs, they released Shadow armor, and all it is those armors with a bit of a darker color scheme to them, and they're cheaper. And it just how can you do that to your players? How can you do that? You're trying to get people to like you. You need people to like you. And yet you make it so that they spent a crap load of money on something, and then after they've spent all that money, a little bit later, you go back, and what they bought, you pretty much just make the exact same thing cheaper. And it doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. And so now, if you look on screen, I'm selling a lot of the loot that I got at Corp over the weekend, and then I'll show you kind of what my money pouch is up to, or the Bossing the Buyables money tab, what that is up to so far. But I also showed you after I did my Bandos trip at the beginning of the episode, so it's nothing really new here. But if you were listening to my Road to Max Cape over the weekend, I said that I mentioned something about them making maybe some PK worlds that possibly had the pre-EOC combat system enabled in them, but then I think they could do a lot with that, but have a couple worlds that were just purely for PKing before the EOC, because that's the main problem with it all. But SoRect has put out a petition to get some dual servers, which I'm not really going to say if I support that or don't support that, because I don't really want to try and influence anyone. I know I'm not that influential because I don't have that many subscribers or that many people that watch my videos, but I still feel that at a base amount, since I'm making a video, I don't think that I should be putting my own opinion out there that's going to influence people one way or another from their own opinion. But I do think that, kind of along the lines of what he said with creating that petition for the dual servers, I think that might be a good idea, and that if Jagex made maybe only a couple worlds that were still tied in with the game, but they did not have God Wars, they did not have any sort of places to train at all. The only reason that world is in the game is for PKing. There's no other reason to enter that world. It is solely for PKing. And I think with that, you could get a lot of the pre-EOC PKers back, plus it would just get a lot of the people who still play the game but enjoy PKing in the old combat system. It would get them to go do that. And it wouldn't affect the economy in any way, because it is just the PKing with the current in-game items and everything, and you won't be bringing any new items into the game. If anything, items will be leaving the game, because say if you drop someone for full rune, you might not pick up their full rune, and you might not pick up all their rocktails and their potions and all those different things. You might leave some of that on the ground, so then items might leave the game, but there's not going to be any way for items to come into the game. So I feel that if they took that route and made those couple worlds for pre-EOC PKing, then there would be a lot more support behind them, a lot more of just kind of back to how it used to be a couple of years ago, when it wasn't necessarily all, yeah, Jagex all the time, like they're great, but it wasn't so negative, always focused on how bad they are, because that's what it's really become since, I don't know, it's been a gradual process all of 2012 that happened, but still, just the general, like, mentality, I'd say 95% of the time is just they're terrible, and it really shouldn't be that way. So let me know what you think in the comments, like, about the different ideas that I talked about, and if you have any ideas, let me know about them. I'd love to read through them. And so that's going to be it for this week's Bossing the Buyables. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and I enjoyed making it. Got a nice drop at Bandos, some decent stuff at Corp, but other than that, I will see you guys Wednesday for another Bossing the Buyables.